You know, your turn will come. Your turn will come. Your turn will. Your turn will come, and I will nominate you as a keynote speaker next year. And while I'm speaking, don't interrupt because you're behaving like Arnav. So let me come back. Where there is so much of money, where there is so much of commercial pressure, the media begins to crumble. So the freedom of speech is as important as the freedom with which I get the truth. And in a lot of that is in crumbling. It is. People are in denial. You know, I mean, FICCI and all, nice organizations, sweet and all that. But people are in denial. You think it's not happening? Of course it's happening. Remember, this is like a cozy club. No one wants to shake the boat because, you know, you're moving from one organization to the other. It's not like the BBC where, you know, we have to pay license fees on every television set you buy in India. So these guys are protected. I mean, other than what they do with little children. But having said that,
it was a long time ago.
Sure, absolutely, absolutely. Suppressed though it was. Point what I wish to make is that we are in very troubled times in India. There is a pressure from the state. That pressure is exerted through the advertising that the state gives you. There is pressure in terms of stature and invitations and junkets. There is commercial pressure. I remember up until the 1960s, you had ownership of newspapers, but a large part of that was bereft of any editorial interference. Today you have owners also donning editorial hats. Now I'm not here to comment whether it's good or bad, I'm just laying the picture for you. So when you talk about the freedom of speech, there must be also a freedom to interpret. Now if I tell Simon that this is a newspaper and there's an article, and you don't know if that article has been planted or not, I'm actually confusing Simon. I'm lying to Simon. That to my mind is a more grievous injury that I'm blowing or inflicting on the hapless reader or viewer. So, my view would be, there is grave danger to freedom of speech in this country. We are now being ruled by a right-wing party. That's up to them, but there are fringe elements that are taking over. In this very city, you have jokers who are objecting to fashion shows in museums. The same jokers who haven't won one seat in the last election. You can't see anything because people are worried that instead of discourse, dialogue and debate, you're resorting to violence and you're resorting to external pressures. And this is a serious issue.
Monica, do you agree with Suhail's point? Put down quite a lot of challenges to broadcasters like NDTV and others.
You know, Suhail made a very, very valid point about monetization. Raghav spoke about it in the earlier session. I just want to say, I think there will always be challenges in terms of how do you get revenue for a business that's very, very expensive. The BBC, for all its license fee, is still in a lot of trouble when it comes to, and having said that, I think transparency is the key. I think the idea is so you spoke about the plant. I think if you are, for instance, the page 3 phenomena in newspapers, where they've actually now started putting out saying this is a sponsored issue. It's really small and I don't think people see it. But transparency is the key. If you are, for any show which you think fits in with your editorial content, or for a certain genre, whether, let's see, it's a show on cars, or it's a show on travel, or food, and you are getting in a sponsor for it, tell your audience. I don't see anything wrong in that, because then they can take that decision. They can decide whether they want to watch it, they don't want to watch it, they want to come to your channel, they don't want to come to your channel. If you have investors in your network and you're doing a story, for instance, we always run a disclaimer if there is a conflict of interest. I know Mint does that as well. If they do a story and there is a conflict of interest, they actually put it out. For whatever there is, tell your audience, tell your viewers.
Treat them as grown-ups.
I mean, they will
describe